In this class, we're going to be exploring ways that we can find the core in yoga. That we put so much emphasis in our culture on having six-pack abs, but really the importance of the core is much more about balance and maintaining the health of the spine. And it really comes in handy in a number of yoga postures as well. Having a strong core really helps us do parts of yoga. Doing yoga really helps us have a strong core as well. So anyway, we are going to be starting off in a chair, just doing some simple breathing to start to wake up the core a little bit. And at one point, I'm going to be using a yoga blanket underneath my knees because we're going to be doing some stuff on hands and knees. So if you need to pad your knees, just get a thick towel or a thick blanket or whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. So let's get going. So let's start off sitting in a chair. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me better. And you want to sit up with a nice tall spine. And so you don't want to be slouching back in the chair. You want a nice S-curve in your spine. So nice and tall. Go ahead and close your eyes. Just make yourself comfortable. And let's just take a moment to land here. So just notice the sensation of your feet on the ground. Really pushing down through your sits bones into the chair and trying to make yourself as tall as you can, rising up through the back of your head. And just do a quick body scan. Just notice how you're feeling. Notice the sensations in your body. So go ahead and do a nice big inhale with me. And a nice complete exhale, pushing all the air out. Nice big inhale again. And on your exhale this time, really try to use your abs to push the air out. Inhale, releasing, relaxing the core. Expanding the stomach. Exhale, engaging, strengthening. So keep going with that at your own pace. And just realize that as you're doing this breath, that every time you're inhaling and exhaling in yoga is an opportunity, especially on the exhale, to engage the core muscles. So this in itself is a core exercise. I'll be emphasizing the breath a lot in a number of classes. And if you just think about doing that light engagement of the core as you exhale. So another big inhale with me. And complete exhale, all the air out. And at the bottom of your exhale, hold the breath out and really engage the abs. And hold. And go ahead and breathe in again. And let's do that one more time. Complete exhale, all the air out, and then hold. Hold. Really engaging through the stomach. Really tight through here. And inhale. And coming back to an easy breath. So we're going to lose the chair here. So that engagement of the stomach, that engagement when you exhale in yoga, there are things called bandhas or locks, and that is Uddiyana Bandha, which is an engagement of the stomach muscles. And it's really important in certain postures when we're trying to protect the back. So it's a good thing to learn, but it's that simple muscular engagement of the core muscles. That's Uddiyana Bandha. So let's go ahead and make our way down to hands and knees. So get whatever you need to be comfortable on your knees. We're going to be hanging out here for just a little bit. And also, if you have any issues with your wrist, you can use another towel. You can roll up the yoga mat. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you're comfortable. If your wrists if you have much difficulty there, you can always put your wrists further forward so there's less of an angle. If they're straight down, it might be harder for some. So just finding a neutral spine, and let's just try to relax our core a little bit first. So just doing some gentle hip circles, just moving the lower back around a little bit, making sure that's happy. One direction and then reverse. Okay, coming back to center. And now let's do something similar, but it's almost like you're trying to do a hula hoop motion. So roll your spine around in a circle in one direction. So this is really getting at all the core muscles. In the core, we think about usually just the abs, but it's also the lower back. In this class, we're going to be focusing mostly on strengthening the abs and not much on the lower back. And go ahead and reverse that circle. So just loosening up all those muscles down around the waist. And coming back to center. So now we're going to do a cat-cow movement, but we're really going to emphasize the core engagement on the exhale, on the rounding part. So inhale, really relaxing your stomach, letting it feel like it's coming down towards the earth. So arching your back, stomach as big as you can. And then exhale, as you round your back, really engage the stomach. Keep going. Just at your own pace, whatever feels good here. Arching on a big inhale, rounding on a complete exhale, really trying to engage the abs on the round and letting go on the inhale, engaging on the exhale. And if you want, you can do this more quickly, so it's almost like a sort of pumping movement, but try to keep up with the breath if you're going to do that. And you'll notice as you're doing this that the movement of rounding the spine actually assists the exhale. It helps you push all the air out. So the movement as well as the engagement of the ab muscles will really help you do this. And by the way, if you're not comfortable doing it that fast, that's okay. Don't worry. Just do it at your own pace. Coming back to center here, and let's push back towards a child's pose or a puppy pose. If you can't bend your knees too much, just keep your thighs relatively perpendicular to the ground. Just come up like this. If you are able to bend into your knees and bring your bum back towards your heels a little bit, come into more of a child's pose. And just hang out here for a moment. So tense your fingers up wherever you're at, just opening up the shoulders just a little bit. And then coming back up to center. So make your way over to your back. And with your feet flat on the floor, roughly hip distance apart, knees facing straight up. And go ahead and start just curling your spine up just a little bit off the ground. Just basically just bringing your bum up off the ground on an exhale. Inhale back down. Exhale, just little by little, one vertebra at a time, curling up. Inhale. And exhale. And keep going with that at your own pace. And make sure on the exhale, as you're curling your spine up, that you are engaging those muscles in the core. So use your muscles to bring yourself up off the ground as opposed to pushing yourself up with your feet and legs. So keep coming a little bit higher each time you do this. Bringing your hips a little bit further off the ground. And keep reminding yourself that the exhale is an engagement and the inhale is a letting go. So we want to be able to strengthen the muscles, but we also want to be able to let them go. We don't want to be in a constant state of rigidity. And yoga is really about both. It's about strength and opening. So on your next exhale, just coming all the way up into a bridge pose, and go ahead and push your elbows into the ground, point your fingers straight up, and see if you can use your elbows to push yourself a little bit higher into this. Make sure your knees aren't splaying out to the side. Feel your feet flat on the floor, and see if you can have an equal weight on your inner arches and the outside of your feet. Feel your big toes on the ground, and the rest of your toes as well, and your heels. And breathing. Relaxed breath here. And then slowly, little by little, start to come down. Lift your heels up off the ground and just lower yourself one vertebra at a time. And bring your heels down last. So interlace your fingers behind your head. And the next thing we're going to do is some yogic bicycles. So if you have any issues with your lower back, if you have any pain in your lower back as you're doing any of these things, just try to lift yourself a little bit further up off the ground. And we're going to be moving the legs back and forth like this. And again, if this causes any lower back issues, you might see if you can keep your legs up a little bit higher. And you can also just do micro movements. So whatever's working for you, just make sure that this feels okay in your lower back. It will be a bit of a workout. Core work is never fun. Try to see if you can inhale in one direction and exhale in the other. Really lifting the head and shoulders up off the ground. See if you can make your lower back almost flat on the ground so you're not arching up, putting pressure there. And just stop whenever you need to, because these core exercises are hard. And go ahead and come to a stop, feet back on the ground, bring your palms back down on the ground and just relax for a moment, catch your breath. So go ahead and interlace the fingers behind the head again and bring your right elbow towards your left knee and see if you can just lift yourself up off the ground there. So this is stage one. This is the easiest variation of what we're doing here. So if this is a workout, just stay here. Stage two is bringing your knees off the ground as well. And stage three is doing more of a bicycle movement here. So we're either going to be just doing stage one or stage two, where you're doing a basic sit-up, or if you're able to, do the bicycle movement as well. So extending the opposite leg out on an exhale. Inhale back and exhale. Nice and slow. And it's fine if you're not extending that leg out, just whatever's working in your body, whatever this looks like for you. We're just trying to work out the oblique muscles on the side of the core. We're targeting different muscles than we were in the last one. Really trying to bring your head and shoulders up off the ground as you're doing this. And this is difficult, as you can hear the strain in my voice. It's hard to talk and do this at the same time. So just stop whenever you need to. And let's just do one more on each side. And I need to stop. So rest, relax, allow your knees to fall together, feet apart, palms facing up. And just notice what it feels like having done that. I know some of this stuff is really not much fun. Core stuff is probably most people's least favorite part of yoga. But after it's done, it's not so bad, you know, hopefully. Hopefully you're not cursing me too much right now. So breathing, seeing if you can inhale big into your stomach and just allowing those muscles to relax. So just one more core exercise here, and then we're going to do a couple things to just release tension. So coming up so that you're sitting with your hands behind you. We're going to do a simple boat pose, Navasana pose. So the first stage in this is to grab onto the back of your legs. And you want to try to really make your back nice and straight. So if you're rounding here like this, then it sort of defeats the purpose. We're trying to pull the lower back up. That's using the psoas muscles to bring the legs towards the core. And those are the muscles we're really targeting here. So nice straight back. So if this is difficult for you, just hang out here. If you want to make it slightly more difficult, release the hands and just keep your feet on the ground. Nice energy going out through the feet. If this is okay, if you can go further, bring your feet up off the ground. And you can always hang on to your thighs as your feet off the ground too, if that's easier for the balance. So whatever variation of this is working for you, try to keep your back straight. And if you, as you notice with me, it's not easy. It's really easy for your back to slouch down towards the ground. And breathing, as I'm not doing. So go ahead and slowly lower down. Keep your feet off the ground if you can. Head and shoulders off the ground, looking straight up. This is a low boat pose, and hold this for 5 breaths if you can. If you can't, just go ahead and come on out. And release, relax. Let go. Nice big inhale. And let it out with a sigh. So let's release a little bit of that tension that we've created in the core. So bring your right foot over to your left thigh and just rock the heels back and forth. Nice, easy breath. This should feel good. The hard work is done. We're just coming down here. And then reverse, left foot over the right thigh. Swaying the hips back and forth, the legs back and forth. Bring your feet back on the ground. Bring your arms up into cactus arms. Your knees up off the ground. Go ahead and scoot your bum over towards the right a little bit and then allow your knees to fall to the left, looking over your right shoulder. And see if you can really breathe right down into your waist, into those core muscles that we've been working out. We want to make sure that they release and let go. Trying to make your right side body longer, so pulling that hip away from your shoulder, that right hip. So slowly coming back to center. Bring your bum back to center and then scooch it over towards the left a little bit and then allow your knees to fall to the right. Don't worry if your knees aren't coming down to the ground. It's really just, you're meant to just feel this nice opening of the side body, the lower back, and the core. So again, breathing big into that left side, that area. And then seeing if you can pull that left hip away from your shoulder. So you want to make this longer. So you don't want to be scrunched up here, but see if you can actually, you're not going to see much movement, but just energetically pull this hip down and away, and that will create more space in your lower back and into your core. And then coming back to center, hug your knees into your chest. Just rock around a little bit from side to side. Make sure your lower back is happy. And then rolling over onto whichever side is more comfortable. Hang out for a moment using your arm as a pillow. And push yourself up. So I hope that wasn't too traumatic. Core stuff is never fun, especially when you start doing it. It's a lot more difficult, but these muscles are so good to develop for balance, especially as we get older. It's really, really good for us. And it's also good for lower back stuff. But if there's any takeaways, I just want to remind you that you can do a core exercise, core engagement. Every time you're really exhaling in yoga, when you're doing a nice deep breath, just think about just a light engagement of the core on the exhale. So there it is. I hope that worked for you, and I will see you in the next class. Thank you.